You've always been a high achiever, pushing yourself to excel in every aspect of life. Your friends and family admire your determination, and you've even inspired others to chase their dreams. But despite your success, you often feel like you're stuck in a rut, like you're not really living the life you want. You're not alone. Many people struggle with a fixed mindset, which can prevent them from achieving their goals and reaching their full potential. So, what is a fixed mindset, and how can you avoid its triggers? Let's start with the basics. A fixed mindset is when you believe that your intelligence, talent, or abilities are fixed, and that you can't change or improve them. This mindset can lead to fear of failure, anxiety, and a lack of motivation. For example, imagine that you're a student struggling to learn a new language. If you have a fixed mindset, you might think, "I'm just not good at languages," or "I'll never be able to speak fluently." This can prevent you from taking risks, trying new things, and pushing yourself to improve. On the other hand, a growth mindset is when you believe that your abilities can be developed and improved through hard work, dedication, and persistence. This mindset allows you to view challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, rather than threats to your ego. For instance, if you're struggling to learn a new language, you might think, "I'll take an extra class, practice every day, and watch language videos to improve my skills." This can help you build confidence, resilience, and a love of learning. So, how can you avoid the triggers of a fixed mindset? Here are a few strategies to get you started. First, be aware of your thoughts and emotions. Notice when you're feeling anxious, frustrated, or discouraged, and take a step back to assess the situation. Ask yourself, am I giving up because I'm afraid of failure, or am I making excuses? Or am I viewing this challenge as an opportunity for growth, or am I seeing it as a threat to my ego? Second, focus on progress, not perfection. Instead of striving for flawlessness, aim to make progress, learn from your mistakes, and improve with each passing day. Remember that everyone makes mistakes, and it's okay not to be perfect. In fact, it's often the mistakes that lead to the greatest growth and learning. Third, practice self-compassion and self-awareness. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding, just as you would a close friend. Acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses, and be gentle with yourself when you make mistakes. Remember that you're human, and it's okay to stumble. Now, let's talk about some common fixed mindset triggers that might be holding you back. Have you ever felt like you're not good enough, or that you're not living up to others' expectations? Do you find yourself constantly comparing yourself to others, and feeling inadequate as a result? These are all common fixed mindset triggers that can prevent you from achieving your goals and reaching your full potential. For example, imagine that you're a young artist struggling to make a name for yourself in a competitive industry. If you have a fixed mindset, you might think, "I'll never make it big," or "I'm just not talented enough." This can prevent you from taking risks, trying new things, and pushing yourself to improve. But what if you could see this challenge as an opportunity for growth and learning? What if you could view your struggles as a chance to develop your skills, build your confidence, and create something truly unique and innovative? This is where a growth mindset comes in. A growth mindset allows you to view challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, rather than threats to your ego. It allows you to take risks, try new things, and push yourself to improve, even when things get tough. And it allows you to view failures and setbacks as stepping stones to success, rather than roadblocks to progress. Now, let's talk about some real-life examples of people who have overcome fixed mindset triggers to achieve their goals and reach their full potential. Have you ever heard of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series? Rowling was a single mother living on welfare when she started writing her books. She was rejected by 12 publishers before one finally agreed to publish her work. But Rowling didn't give up. Instead, she used her fixed mindset triggers as opportunities for growth and learning, and went on to become one of the most successful authors of all time. Or what about Stephen King, the famous horror writer? King was rejected by 30 publishers before his first book was accepted. But King didn't let this setback hold him back. Instead, he used it as an opportunity to learn and improve, and went on to write some of the most iconic horror novels of all time. These are just a few examples of people who have overcome fixed mindset triggers to achieve their goals and reach their full potential. But the truth is, anyone can do it. All it takes is a willingness to learn, grow, and push yourself to improve. So, what's the next step? How can you start to overcome your fixed mindset triggers and achieve your goals? Here are a few strategies to get you started. First, identify your fixed mindset triggers. What are the thoughts and emotions that hold you back? Are you afraid of failure? Or do you feel like you're not good enough? Once you know what your triggers are, you can start to work on overcoming them. Second, focus on progress, not perfection. Instead of striving for flawlessness, aim to make progress, learn from your mistakes, and improve with each passing day. Remember that everyone makes mistakes, and it's okay not to be perfect. Third, practice self-compassion and self-awareness. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding, just as you would a close friend. Acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses, and be gentle with yourself when you make mistakes. Remember that you're human, and it's okay to stumble. Finally, take action. Don't just sit around thinking about your goals and aspirations. Take concrete steps to achieve them, even if it feels scary or uncomfortable. Remember that growth and learning often take place outside of your comfort zone. In conclusion, a fixed mindset can hold you back from achieving your goals and reaching your full potential. But by being aware of your thoughts and emotions, focusing on progress, practicing self-compassion and self-awareness, and taking action, you can overcome your fixed mindset triggers and achieve your dreams. So, what's holding you back? What's the first step you'll take to overcome your fixed mindset triggers and start achieving your goals? Imagine living your life in a constant state of fear, never daring to take risks or try new things, because you're convinced you'll fail. For Emily, this wasn't just a theoretical concept, it was a harsh reality. Every time she thought about pursuing a new passion or stepping outside her comfort zone, her mind would freeze, crippled by the weight of past failures. Emily's fixed mindset was a self-imposed prison, one that she'd built brick by brick over the years. She'd always been someone who played it safe, never wanting to rock the boat or risk disappointing others. But the problem was, this safety net had become suffocating. Emily felt like she was living a life that wasn't truly hers, one that was dictated by fear and doubt rather than her own desires and aspirations. As she looked back on her past experiences, Emily realized that her fixed mindset triggers had originated from criticism, failure, and even trauma. The voice of her high school English teacher still echoed in her mind. "You'll never be a good writer, Emily." The sting of rejection from a college application still lingered. "You're not good enough." And the emotional scars from a toxic relationship still raw. "You're not worthy of love." These triggers were like a ticking time bomb, waiting to unleash their full fury whenever Emily dared to take risks or pursue her dreams. They manifested as self-doubt, anxiety, and a crippling fear of failure. Emily's mind would spiral out of control, conjuring up worst-case scenarios and reinforcing her fixed mindset. But here's the thing, Emily wasn't alone. Many people struggle with fixed mindset triggers, often unaware of the subtle ways they hold themselves back. It's not just about being afraid of failure, it's about being trapped in a web of negative self-talk and self-doubt. It's about believing that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy of success or happiness. As Emily began to unravel the threads of her fixed mindset, she realized that the key to breaking free lay in confronting these triggers head-on. She started by acknowledging the pain and vulnerability that lay beneath her fears and doubts. She began to reframe her negative self-talk, replacing it with affirmations that celebrated her strengths and accomplishments. And she started to take small risks, ones that allowed her to build confidence and momentum. It wasn't easy, and there were still days when the fear and doubt crept back in. But Emily was determined to shatter the chains of her fixed mindset and unlock her true potential. She knew that the only way to do this was to face her fears and doubts head-on, to confront the triggers that had held her back for so long. As Emily stood at the threshold of this new chapter in her life, she felt a sense of trepidation mixed with excitement. She knew that the journey ahead would be challenging, but she was ready to take the first step. For Emily, the question was no longer, "What if I fail?" but rather, "What if I succeed?" Have you ever felt like you're hiding behind a mask of perfectionism, pretending to have it all together, but secretly terrified of being discovered? Emily thought she was the epitome of success, a high-powered executive with a beautiful home, a loving partner, and a seemingly flawless career. But beneath the surface, she was suffocating under the weight of her own expectations. The pursuit of perfection had become an all-consuming force in Emily's life, driving her to work longer hours, push herself to her limits, and constantly strive for more. She became so fixated on achieving this unattainable goal that she lost sight of what truly brought her joy. Her relationship suffered, her physical health began to decline, and she found herself stuck in a cycle of burnout and anxiety. As Emily delved deeper into her fixed mindset, she realized that her perfectionism was not only a trigger for her fixed mindset but also a coping mechanism. It allowed her to avoid taking risks and facing her fears head-on. By pretending to have it all together, she could maintain a sense of control and order in her chaotic world. But the cost was steep. Emily's perfectionism had become a mask, hiding her true self from the world. She felt trapped and disconnected from her own desires and passions. Recognizing this pattern was the first step towards breaking free from the chains of a fixed mindset. It took courage and vulnerability to admit that she didn't have all the answers and that it was okay to be imperfect. As Emily began to dismantle her mask of perfectionism, she started to rediscover her true passions and interests. She took risks, made mistakes, and learned to accept herself as a work in progress. It wasn't easy, but it was a liberating experience that allowed her to live a more authentic, fulfilling life. And as she looked back on her journey, Emily realized that the mask of perfectionism had been a prison, not a shield. Imagine waking up every morning feeling empowered, confident, and ready to take on new challenges. For Emily, this was a far cry from her previous reality, where the weight of her fixed mindset had her stuck in a rut. She had always been the type of person who played it safe, never wanting to take risks or face rejection. But deep down, she knew that this approach was suffocating her. As Emily began to break free from her fixed mindset, she realized that the first step was to acknowledge and challenge her negative thoughts and emotions. She started keeping a journal to track her thoughts and identify patterns, and soon discovered that her self-doubt was rooted in a deep-seated fear of failure. By confronting this fear head-on, Emily was able to begin to reframe her mindset and develop a growth mindset. With her growth mindset in place, Emily discovered that she was capable of overcoming obstacles and persisting in the face of challenges. She started taking on new projects at work, volunteered for a cause she was passionate about, and even began learning a new language. And as she did, she found that her sense of confidence and self-worth grew exponentially. But Emily knew that maintaining a growth mindset wasn't just about achieving success, it was also about being kind to herself along the way. She learned to practice self-compassion, treating herself with the same kindness and understanding that she would offer to a friend. And when she made mistakes, she was able to laugh them off and learn from them, rather than beating herself up over them. As Emily continued on her journey, she began to realize that the power to change her mindset lay within her all along. She had the ability to choose how she responded to challenges, to cultivate a growth mindset that would serve her for the rest of her life. And with this newfound understanding, Emily felt a sense of freedom and empowerment that she had never experienced before.